everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the new zombie movie that has just come out on Netflix, Army of the Dead, a Zack Snyder film. Before you start jumping to conclusions and everything else that you've read online, no, it is not a sequel to the original Dawn of the Dead. Army of the Dead, I definitely would give it a watch. It is a 148-minute runtime. The budget was around 70 to 90 million. Stars Dave Bautista. There's a couple of other noticeable faces that you're going to see in there, like Theo Rossi, but let's jump into it. Ending explained with the fellas. So Army of the Dead starts off with us following a U.S. military convoy, the Four Horsemen, as it says, which to me is a nod to the original Dawn of the Dead that Zack Snyder did, because he had Johnny Cash's When the End Comes Around playing in the beginning. There's a few other nods to his original movie that he made as well as we go on. But we followed this U.S. military convoy going through the desert outside of Las Vegas. The convoy's cargo just so happens to be in the middle of the caravan. And as they're driving around, you've got your two buddies here guessing back and forth. What could they be? What could be inside of this container? A few ideas get tossed around here and there. Oh, it could be Area 51. Could be the original Constitution written in the blood of the original signees, but we all know what it really was. The movie starts off with a couple that just got married, driving through the desert on the outside of Las Vegas after they just got hitched. Hey, why not? As our two military personnel are in the lead car, discussing what their cargo could be that they're guarding, our couple in the opposite car decides to get a little frisky. A little road head, if you know what I'm saying. Distracts the couple's driver, and then he's heading straight toward the convoy. The first car swerve, he hits the container car, flips it, killing everybody inside of the car. Oh, well, we ain't worried about him. They're dead. Let's keep moving. Now it's time to check on the convoy. We're going to find out what's finally inside instead of having to guess. Oh, it's a zombie. What do you know? Out comes the zombie. And in my personal opinion, it's a zombie like I've not seen before, but leave it to Zack Snyder to do stuff that doesn't go canon to whatever is actually part of the story or the lore of zombies. Zombie steps out. He starts snapping necks. The two remaining military members that are in the first car, they run off, say fuck everybody else, they're out. He catches up with them, bites one on the neck, rips the other one's jaw off. Then it leads us to him standing in front of Las Vegas, his new domain, new possible kingdom. Then we're followed up with a montage of the beginning of the movie, which is very Dawn of the Dead-esque because it is Richard Cheese, once again, doing Viva Las Vegas as his song, but as the original movie, Richard Cheese doing Down with the Sickness. So it's another nod that we were talking about to the original movie that Zack Snyder done back in the early 2000s, Dawn of the Dead. After our montage, we kind of get an introduction to our main characters that are going to be in the movie. Dave Bautista, also known as Scott Ward in this movie. We go into seeing casino owner Bly Tanaka and his associate Martin that approach the mercenary Scott Ward while he's flipping some patties. Hey, Scott, they look pretty good. Why don't you give me one here? Tanaka approaches Scott Ward about a job to recover $200 million from the casino vault in Vegas before the military decides to drop a nuke strike on the city. Nuke strike on the city, didn't the zombies get out? No. Fortunately, in this universe, the U.S. military was actually on their shit and managed to contain all of the zombies inside of Vegas. It's the only thing you're able to contain. Am I right, COVID? So the U.S. military has shut down Vegas completely. Tanaka is wanting Scott Ward to assemble a team to get his $200 million from the casino. Scott Ward decides to agree and recruits his former teammates, which is Maria Cruz, possible love interest for Scott Ward, and then his right-hand man, Vanderho, along with his wisecracking helicopter pilot, Marie Peters. Probably the best part about this entire movie is Marie Peters. Her little puns are the only thing that'll kind of give you a chuckle through the entire movie. She's the comedic relief. Then they also decide that they're going to have to get a safecracker. What good heist movie doesn't have a safecracker? So they decide to recruit German safecracker Ludwig Dieter, and then Chicano sharpshooter Mikey Guzman, which literally this guy just makes YouTube videos and social media posts of him killing zombies. He sneaks into Vegas, kills the zombies, comes out. He's a big Instagram YouTube star. Guzman, the sharpshooter, brings in his associate Chambers. Martin's the bodyguard of Tanaka, but Martin decides to join Ward and his ragtag crew. Next, we find ourselves in a rescue camp for all the people that made it out of Vegas but have nowhere else to go. This is where we're going to meet Kate Ward, Scott's daughter, also a main character in the movie. In this camp, we see her talking with another camp survivor. And here's the camp survivor saying that she's wanting to go into Vegas to get $5,000, just randomly wanting to get money so that she can leave the camp and start a life on her own. Well, that's good. Fine for you. Good luck to you. This is also where we meet Theo Rossi's character, Bert Cummings, which is your typical asshole character that decides he's going to run around and try to do what he wants with the women in the camp because nobody else is watching out for him. Why not? Sorry, Bert. Bad things are coming to you. Along the line, we end up having a team shows up at the rescue camp from all the survivors from Vegas. Scott's bright plan: who better else to take me inside than my daughter, the woman that works at the camp who can sneak us all in? Sounds good. Risk your daughter for 200 million? Why not? You can buy a new one. She introduces them to the Coyote, aka Lily, which is somebody that lives on the outside of Vegas and ends up taking stray people into Vegas, people that want to try to go in and get money themselves, people that want to just try to see what a zombie is for the first time. She joins our group as well. Lily, Coyote, decides that she's going to bring in Bert too. As they enter into Vegas, we get our first look at zombies. The zombie tiger named Valentine. We find out it's Siegfried and Roy's tiger. Gucci Goo, he's a cute boy, isn't he? Look at him. Right off the bat, whenever you think that we're just dipping our toes into the water, we get Lily shooting Cummings in the knee. You kind of deserved it. What's the reasoning? She says that they need some bait. They're going to make an offering. But apparently, in this zombie universe, our original zombie that we saw at the beginning that was out of the military container is the king of the zombies. He's the smartest one. So this is now a zombie kingdom. Cummings is shot in the knee. They bind him up and they hand him over to the queen of the zombies, which we see come out from behind a car. Her and her bodyguard come out and drag Cummings back into the headquarters for all the zombies, which is one of the hotels. Lily leads the team to a building full of hibernating normal zombies. All of these zombies are standing in a row, and they basically have to make their way through them. As they're trying to squeeze their way through, Ward decides he's going to create a path through the middle of them with glow sticks, leading everybody down the right path so that nobody touches and wakes up a zombie. Well, almost nobody wakes up a zombie. Chambers, the friend to E. Guzman, the YouTube star, accidentally wakes one up by bumping into them. As she starts slashing and hacking her way through, trying not to wake up any more zombies, she's surrounded by them. The group's on their way out. As they turn around, they don't see Chambers anymore. We come to see that Martin locks the door on her. So he's trapped her. Might as well say goodbye to her, right? No, all of a sudden, Chambers gets tackled through the glass window. Seeing that she might still be alive, Guzman watches as she gets bit again. There's nothing else for you to do, so he shoots the gasoline canister on her back, destroying her and the entire horde of hibernating zombies around her. They finally reach Bly's casino. The team decides to split up and all go efficiently into their own separate ways, leaving the Coyote and Martin on the outside to watch the perimeter. As they're watching the perimeter, they see the queen again, the queen zombie. We see Martin shoot the queen with a grappling hook and tie her up. Lily doesn't think much of this until he decides to behead her. Now, the sacrifice, Bert Cummings, was going to be the only thing that was going to keep all of them safe. But it looks like Martin's got other plans. He's not here for the money at all. He just wants the head of the queen so that they can get a vial of her blood and make a zombie army. That's where the real money's at. Fuck the 200 million. Why do you need it when you're already a billionaire? He sticks the head in a sack, and him and Lily head back to the casino, where we've got Scott, Ward, and Kate that are wandering off together to turn the power on. Peters, our wise-cracking helicopter operator, heads to the roof to try to fix the helicopter and prepare it for liftoff. Then we have Dieter and Vanderhoof that head toward the safe. Got to make sure that we get the safe open. It's just a huge-ass safe with a few booby traps along the way. When the power finally comes back on, a news report comes on the TV near Scott and Kate, stating that the government has decided to rush the nuclear strikes. It would be one hell of a show for the 4th of July fireworks show. This gives the team 1 hour to get out when they had 24 hours to begin with. Once they find out this information, they know that they have to make sure that Dieter opens the vault. As Dieter's getting to the final moments, we pan back out to the outside where we see the king discovering the headless body of his wife. The king puts on his metal face mask and rides his zombie horse into battle, leading them straight toward Tanaka's casino where our group is. Finally, it shows Dieter opening the vault successfully with all the money inside. It's time to go, especially with the horde coming that they don't know about yet. But, oh, what's this? Scott Ward discovers that his daughter is missing. Oh yeah, she had to go and get somebody from the campsite. Fuck everybody else. I've got to go and get this woman that I barely know. She's disappeared. Scott's trying to get all the money together as well as the crew. They've got an hour time limit left because the nuke strike's been moved up, baby. Time for a fireworks show. Scott says, fuck the money. I've got to go find my daughter. Him and Maria start to set off to go and find Kate. He smacks the elevator button, and as the elevator doors open up, there's the horde that come with the king of zombies, and her neck gets snapped. It's a brutal kill. Scott gets in a hand-to-hand combat with a zombie. I've never seen one move like that. What is this, American Ninja Warrior for zombies? As the zombies start to pour in, everybody decides that they've got to get out. Scott's trying to get to the roof so they can zoom over to the other casino and hopefully pick up his daughter because he knows exactly where they've got to go. As they're all climbing up the ladder, Martin decides he's going to trap the team in the basement, locking the latch door, saying that he doesn't even need the money. The only thing he needed was the zombie head. As he laughs and runs off, we think our team's screwed. But the big saw that Vanderhoof was carrying comes in handy as they saw their way through concrete. Yep, that's believable. Martin, on his way out, thinks that he's going to make it to the helicopter before the rest of the team. No worries there. He's got the head in hand and it's worth more than $200 million. Why not? But his dreams are smashed once we see Valentine, the lovely Siegfried and Roy tiger, grab a hold of him. He puts up a slightly okay fight, but you're not going to defeat a zombie tiger. Let's just be honest. Martin's done. Head gets crushed in a hell of a kill. Then we come back to Vanderhoof attempting to fight the king of the zombies, but he's easily overpowered. He gets his ass beat all up and down the vault. Dieter decides to sacrifice himself by throwing Vanderhoof inside of the safe and closing it as the room's starting to fill up with zombies and he knows that he can't beat the king. This is the last we see of our German safecracker Dieter. He shuts the door and we can only assume that the king of the zombies ends up murdering him. Then we come back to Scott, Lily, and Guzman making their way to the lobby with loads of cash on their arm. In the lobby is where all hell breaks loose. The army that followed the King Zeus, they all start flooding the lobby, and this is where it's all going to go down. Scott Ward, Lily, and Guzman are fighting off the zombies as much as they can, where we end up seeing a zombie swarm Guzman and he gets bit. Guzman's able to take him out, but he knows that this is the end for him. So he uses himself as a decoy and pulls all 4 pins on the grenades on his vest. The zombies swarm Guzman to eat his flesh and then ends up blowing up the entire horde that's in the lobby. In a quick frame during this lobby scene, we see a couple of headshots and it's never addressed. And this might be just a conspiracy for me, but there look to be a couple of robot zombies like this one here. Thanks, Snyder. It made no fucking sense. Now we have Scott and Lily heading to the roof. No cash in hand. The whole trip's a bust. We just sacrificed our lives for fucking nothing. That's the kind of movie that you want to see. As they get to the roof, they're heading toward the helicopter where Ward boards the helicopter, but behind him opens the door and there's the king. He's come to kill everybody that killed Brad. But Lily has a plan as she had switched the money counting machine in Martin's bag with the head of the queen. She's holding the head hostage so that Scott can get away. The helicopter flies off into the distance and Lily's left to fight the king. She drops the queen's head off of the casino, and that's just enough to piss him off. We assume that Lily dies, but we don't get an actual kill shot of her. Now we've got Scott and Peters heading over to the casino where his daughter Kate is in the helicopter. One last mission. We've got 9 minutes left. Can we make it? The nuke's about to drop. Fuck it. Peters lands the helicopter on the Olympus Casino where he knows that his daughter Kate is. Then we come back to Kate where she's discovered Greta and finally finds the missing survivor from the camp. Okay, job well done. You got a bunch of people killed because of your ass. So now it's time to leave. This is where we come back into it with Mr. Burt Cummings. Theo Rossi pops back up as he's been turned into a zombie. He gets one final kill in. Well, first and final meal, I guess. Sorry, buddy. Burt gets one bite in, and then he takes a shot to the head, killing him. And what do you know? Scott Ward comes barreling through the door after the helicopters landed on top of the roof. Time to get his daughter out of here. I hear you, Scott, but you shouldn't have brought the bitch anyway. Then, the zombie king's in the hallway of his casino. How the hell he outran a helicopter, we'll never know. It must be the zombie horse. The thing has to run fast. I gotta get me one of those. Now we've got Scott Ward taking his hand at fighting off the zombie king. He doesn't do much better, so they have to scramble toward the roof. Once they get to the roof, Scott and Kate and Greta all jump into the helicopter with Peters, and they start to fly off into the distance trying to get away from the nuke. But Zeus, the zombie king, jumps into the helicopter before they're able to get away, fighting with Scott while we've got Peters trying to steer this fucking piece of shit. As they clear the walls of Vegas, that's when we see our nuke coming, and we all know what comes after a nuke. A shockwave. So Peters can't stop here. She's got to outrun the shockwave as the nuke collides with Vegas. While Scott's fighting the zombie king, he finds a pistol on the ground. How convenient. He's trying to get a couple of shots off and ends up shooting Peters, but it doesn't kill her though. Wipe the blood off the windshield of the helicopter and keep on trucking. Just when we think that they've all gotten away, still outrunning the shockwave, Scott's fighting the zombie king. We see his arm get snapped. As Scott's fighting the zombie king inside the helicopter, he gets bitten on the shoulder. Oh, we all know what that means. Sorry, Batista. The shockwave ends up hitting the helicopter, making them crash. As they're getting ready to crash, Batista gets a shot off, killing the king, finally. The nuke destroys Vegas. The shockwave causes the helicopter to fully crash, killing Peters and Greta. Yes, Greta, the same survivor that Kate risked everybody's life to go back and save. Thanks, Kate. You've ruined the whole fucking thing. Kate ends up surviving, and so does her dad. After we see Kate get out of the wreckage of the helicopter, she walks over to her father, where they have a father-daughter moment, a little heart-to-heart, before he ends up turning into a zombie. Yes, the main character turning into a zombie, that's fine by me. It's a nice change of pace. We don't really get to see that often. Kate has to suck it up and put a bullet between his eyes in order to make sure that he doesn't get out and spread the virus all over the U.S. Good on you, Kate. After Kate kills her father, we see a rescue helicopter landing behind her to take her away. But what happened to Vanderhoof, you might ask? Didn't he get shoved in a safe? Well, after the nuke was dropped, you think that credits are about to roll, but then we see the devastated Las Vegas City flattened after the nuke, and Vanderhoof crawling out of the rubble with all the bags of cash. Why isn't there radiation? I don't know. But Vanderhoof doesn't seem like he's affected by any of it. With all the bags of cash, Vanderhoof ends up stealing a car on the outskirts of Vegas and driving to Utah, where he ends up buying a private plane to take him to Mexico City. That's an ending if I've ever seen one. I'm fine with that. Vanderhoof's getting away. He's got a private plane, bags of cash, sharing some champagne with the stewardesses on the flight. While he's in the bathroom, we see that Vanderhoof got bit on the back of the arm by the king, leading him to say, fuck. And that's exactly what you would have to say at this point in time. In my personal opinion, this is leaving us to think that there's going to be a sequel, which everything that I've seen, they've already signed up for a prequel and a sequel, depending on how this movie does. Well, you know how Netflix is. They don't care to run something into a ground. All in all, Schneider, you did a decent job. You're making your own zombie world. I'm glad you did not do a continuation of Dawn of the Dead. And the little nods that you did were fantastic. You still need to explain to me about the zombie robots, though. Don't know what's going on there, but I definitely saw metal and sparks. Well, that's all we have for you this time. I'm Justin with the fellas. Tune in again for another movie review with us. We'll break it down for you and tell you the good, bad, and the worst parts of the movies, and tell you if it's worth watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Click the bell if you want our notifications. Leave a comment below if you thought the movie was worth it or not. We'll see you next time.